Hold on. We're back.
Hi.
Hi. Hey everyone, I am Kristen Harchis and I am a business coach and transformational coach for new health coaches. And today I wanted to do a little interview with a coach who I have worked with in the past, so a past client of mine, just to give you guys a little bit of insight on what it's like to start your business and kind of the process and some of the things that people go through, because I think it's helpful to get just some perspectives from other people who have done it, just to kind of pull back the curtain and see what it's all about. And so today I have Nancy with me, and I'm super excited. And I'm going to let her actually introduce herself to you guys, because I think she'll do a better job than I will. So Nancy, why don't you go ahead and just tell a little bit about you and what you're doing? And
Sure. Hey, ladies. My name is Nancy Weiss. I am a fertility coach and Reiki practitioner. I did go to school at IIN, and I've kind of made my own way from there in terms of what I do with my coaching. So I actually decided to focus after some changes on my journey, decided to focus on fertility, specifically women going through issues like IVF, IUI, and just, difficulty getting pregnant, because that's part of my story. So I decided that that's what I finally wanted to focus on. And I do that primarily through mindset. So that's what I work with primarily, is mindset, law of attraction, deliberate creation, in helping women call their baby in so that they can feel confident and happy and have unwavering faith every day, despite the ups and downs. So that's in a nutshell, that's what I do.
I love that. And it's definitely, changed as you go, which is good. And that's like one thing that a lot of people get scared about, like, oh my gosh, I have to have it all figured out and perfect in the beginning. And like, as you have seen, like it can transform as you go, as my business has as well. And to be
definitely.
So why don't you start just before we started even working together, like go back and how, I'm trying to even remember like when this was.
It was a while ago now.
Yeah.
Why
don't you tell us kind of what was going on for you, like where you were at with things, and just to give us a little bit of an insight.
Sure. So originally, I was a wellness coordinator at a really large manufacturing company. So I was working with the general public doing, and a full-time job, doing weight loss, doing exercise challenges, walking challenges. I absolutely loved it. I really got a company that was not motivated to exercise and eat well, and got a lot of people to lose weight and come off medication. I did small group coaching programs. So when I decided to start my own business, I thought that that's where I would go. I would start with weight loss, because I figured, okay, weight loss is like this multi-million-dollar industry. Everyone wants to lose weight. I've helped people do it. And so that's where I figured that I would focus my business on. After trying that for a little bit, I realized that it wasn't ringing true for me, because I had never had the issue myself with trying to lose weight. I maybe gained a little bit of weight because of all the IVF medication I had done over the, in a year and a half. And so that then led me to focusing on fertility. But it took me months to kind of figure out how to get there. So I was just kind of lost. I needed someone to hold my hand. I needed you to hold my hand through making the changes and being okay with learning that coaching isn't just, you probably just don't go into it with one thing and then that's what you do for the rest of your life or your rest of your coaching career. And so I learned that I needed to be flexible, and I needed to keep myself open to many different options for myself of what worked right. And even when I started with the fertility, I was focusing on nutrition because that's what I learned in school. But for me, mindset was everything. Been working on mindset and law of attraction for over 10 years. manifesting for myself constantly, all these different things. And I realized like, hey, I felt like I was holding a secret back from from the women I was working with in my group. And I'm like, ladies, look, I love to tell you about how eggs and protein is great for fertility. But if you never believe that you're going to be a mom, or you say it's never going to happen, then where does that, where does that get us? So I really, when I started working with you, it was in the infancy of my business of not knowing infancy, I like that, but not knowing exactly where to start, or like how to start a website, or what should I put on the website? What should should I start a group? The group thing was really scary to start.
Yeah.
I know I hesitated for a long time because I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to be the expert in the group. Who am I to be the expert? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been through enough IVF yet, or things like that. I haven't had a baby yet. That worried me too. But yeah, so I don't know. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
So there's so much to talk about.
No, that's good. That's good. And yeah, I was curious about, for you, it's the change in your ideal client and just getting really clear on who you really wanted to be helping. And I think allowing like your unique gifts and skills and interests to really come through your business was a huge part as far as your business really being able to take off and just feel better too.
Yes. And also I think for me, it was also being able to open myself up to other opportunities. So my business is really a 3-prong business right now. So I have my own fertility clients that I work with through my Facebook group and other means of getting clients like that. So focusing on fertility. But I also had a wonderful connection of someone that got me in touch with an owner of a surrogacy agency. And so I became this agency's prenatal health coach for their surrogate mothers. Mm-hmm. And then I also have another prong of my business where I work for a naturopath who deals with anxiety, depression, thyroid, weight loss issues. And that's my third part of what I do. So I think that was really important too, was keeping myself open again to all the different opportunities and different things that I can do and not just have to focus on one thing, because getting clients in fertility took me time. There's a whole know, and trust. You don't just all of a sudden open up a Facebook group one day and by the end of the week you have a full set of clients. Mm-hmm. People need to get to know you and like you, and you have to provide content. And it wasn't until after I started doing that consistently that it was then easier to get clients. But on the back end, I also had the other parts of my business going, like coaching for the naturopath and the surrogacy agency, which has been an invaluable experience.
Yeah. I just, I don't know if you get the notes from the universe or saw the one today.
I didn't read it yet.
It was about letting go of the how, like saying like all your dreams can come true as long as you let go of how they're going to come true, or kind of, that.
Right. And the thing that I learned the most on my journey this last year, I think I started with you in April, around April. So right. April, May, June, July, August. It took me then 4 months to realize, wait a minute, I need to work on fertility because this is what I'm living day in and day out. Mm-hmm. And then these things like the surrogacy agency, the naturopath, they came so easily to me. I did not really stress myself, or like they literally fell into my lap. And that's because I also use my mindset techniques and beliefs every day of saying like, hey, opportunities come to me effortlessly.
Yeah.
And it happens. And I'm always like blown away. I just got 3 new surrogate mothers the other day sent to me.
Awesome.
And I mean, like handed to me. And I'm so, so grateful to the universe and God and for that. But yeah, it was just the fact of, you don't always have to be working so hard. I used to spend, when I first started working with you, I was at my computer from especially because I left corporate. I quit my job. My husband had a lot of faith in me, which is so incredible. Let me quit my job. I was like, honey, I need to start my business full time. And I would sit at this computer from 9 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock at night, in my kitchen, not move, not get up. Cause I'm like, I have to create my website, have to do all these things. And I spent a lot of time doing kind of like these things that weren't really that important.
Yeah.
They were and they weren't. So it took me a while to learn kind of like how to just ease up with stuff. And as soon as I let go of that grip, just like the same thing I teach my women with pregnancy of the how and how are we going to get that done. As soon as I let go of that grip and the control is when the universe just put stuff in my lap. I can't, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is very cool. And you got some very cool opportunities because you were open to them. But tell us too, because I know it's something that a lot of people are interested in, possibly teaming up with other like healthcare professionals. What, I know it's just being open to it too, but what else did you do to put yourself in a position where you could get that opportunity?
Well, I think there was the first thing. I remember talking to you and saying like, Kristen, do you think I should, can I do this? Like, do you think this naturopath's going to work with me? And you were like, well, you have to go, you have to go try.
Yeah.
And I was really nervous. So it's not like, it just happened out of nowhere. What I wound up doing to work with him was he does visits in his office for the public, like a lunch and learn, where he teaches patients about what he does. How does he treat anxiety and depression and thyroid disease from a holistic approach? And so I just decided one day, I said, I'm going to go to one of these classes that he has, and I'm going to see if I like him. That was the thing too. I wasn't like, oh, maybe I hope he wants to work with me. No, I went there to see if I liked him and what he was talking about. And I sat through the hour class. I really enjoyed his presentation. And afterwards, I introduced myself and I said, hey, I'm a health coach. Maybe we can pair up. You know what I mean? Maybe, I can help you out. And he was interested, but very busy. And, he told me, he said, hey, okay, follow up with me. And so what I did was I just followed up. I think it took me like 2 or 3 months for him to finally kind of get everything going. But I never stopped. I never let it go and saying, oh, maybe I should wait for him to contact me. I'd always check in and say, hey, Dr. B, what's going on? Like, how are things with the business? Do you still have, an idea of where you might want to use a health coach? And then he was ready. Then he was finally ready to kind of include that in his business.
Yeah.
And then he hired me on to be the health coach. And we actually have a great relationship, but also a great setup with a business where I don't have to do any sales calls or have any sales meetings, call them sales calls, whatever, with his clients, because he just includes my package and my rate into his package and then just sends me the clients.
That's awesome.
Doesn't mean that every client is perfect for me, but it kept me really busy.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of, a trade-off. Like you're not the one that's necessarily doing all the marketing, like you're getting some people to you. So you're not able to be quite as picky as far as your ideal client.
Exactly. And then I think that's about learning too, about coaching too, is that sometimes you're going to have clients that are great. You're going to have clients that don't care. There's all different types of things, but it all really comes out to a learning experience.
Yeah. So
that when I finish up with a client and I was like, wow, that was a perfect client. Why was that client so great? It gives me more reason to know, like, when I get my own clients, who I should work with and who I shouldn't. Because not every client is going to work out, but learning upfront about what makes them the ideal client. And when you have that perfect client, it helps you choose and work with the right people afterwards, regardless of whether it's fertility or something else.
Yeah. Yeah. And it makes a huge difference just in how much you enjoyed the experience, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah. But I just want to highlight something from what you said too, as far as really having to follow up with people and staying on it and not being like, because you didn't maybe hear back from the naturopath right away, or like, oh, like I'm not good enough, like he's not interested, like you stayed on it. And I remember us talking about that. It's like, do not be afraid to follow up, like, be consistent. And that's really it paid off for you. Like if you hadn't done that, who knows? It probably wouldn't have gone anywhere. Like, you don't know. So
right. He definitely appreciated it. He is the type of doctor, he's on TV a lot. So he's constantly doing talks overseas. He's in London. He just spoke at Harvard. So he's constantly all over the place. He's at like in New Mexico on a morning show talking about stuff. So he's literally in and out of the office. And I, again, just making sure that I kind of checked in every 3 weeks or so, I think it was, I did. And then finally the time was right. I'm actually thinking about next year about reaching out to a few other local naturopaths because it's been such a great experience for me.
Yeah.
To see who else I can partner up with.
Awesome. I love that. I just want to like go back just a little bit to when you were first, because this is like one of the biggest things for people starting their business, but when you were first getting started and you were looking at actually like starting your health coaching, looking at making this a full-time business, like what were the things that you either felt like most lost with or scared about? Like what were those things for you?
I think the reason why I hired you was because even though I learned so much, I didn't know where to start. I didn't know where to focus my energy. So I was just constantly like, oh, do I build a list? But how do I build a list? Do I start a Facebook group? What am I going to say every day? So I think those were some of the things, just like a lack of focus of, okay, what do I need to concentrate on this week? And we know as coaches, why we coach other people is to hold them accountable. You know what I mean? And so as a new coach, it's very easy to just sit there, work for a week and really not see anything get done. So you help me break down certain things, especially things like my About Me page and my services, of how to kind of like just get down what I wanted to do in very easy steps. And then things like starting Facebook ads or boosting posts, we talked about that. So they were all these little things that you need to set up, setting up a MailChimp list. That scared the hell out of me. When I had to think about I was like MailChimp or, having one of these, or, doing lead pages and having a lead magnet and a lead magnet and an opt-in. All the things that you see on other coaches' websites, that pop up and you're like, wow, that's so fancy. I could never have that. And then all of a sudden, you help me figure out like, okay, what are the steps that I need to do to get the same thing going for myself? Yeah. And I was able to do it. You know what I mean? I was so proud to have like my MailChimp list and have these, lead magnet delivery. Like if you would have told me before that, I wouldn't even know what that was. Mm-hmm. So those were really important for me, and like kind of just really feeling like things were coming together in my business.
Yeah. And just going like on the techie piece of things, like, was it, I mean, I know it's not like fun, but was it as hard as you thought it was? And just like, when people are looking at starting their business and they're like, oh, I'm not good with computers, I'm not really good with all this techie stuff. Like, what would you say to people about that?
I think it was easier than I thought. And then I also realized, there's so much help out there, either with tutorials and things like that. Like you could jump onto a YouTube tutorial, like how to set up my first MailChimp list, or how to set those things up. Talking to you and just kind of like busting the myths that I would come up with. That would be the thing. I'd be like, but I don't understand. And you were like, it's really simple. It's 1, 2, 3. And then you're like, oh, I get it now. So I think, I'm kind of smart when it comes to the computer. I could, but I'm more of like I need the tutorials to help me. And there's no shame in doing that. And then going online and just finding out, a little bit more information. But having you, be there to kind of help me figure it out was huge, because it actually got done. And that was the thing, that I wasn't just sitting there, changing the size of pictures on my website, but I was actually, or changing colors. Oh, I spent a lot of time changing colors on my website. Let me tell you, doing that, to actually then moving into actually doing something that was legit, and then coming up with the emails, like, emails to send people. That was a big help too.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can be easy sometimes to get stuck kind of behind your computer too. Like this is something you talked about a lot, which I think is really important. And doing things that don't really necessarily matter as far as moving your business forward, like changing your colors on your website a million times, or making logos. Like sometimes people are like, I have to make this logo.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
I don't even have a logo. Like, some of those things that can really kind of keep you stuck in being
Mm-hmm.
busy, but not really like doing anything that's really helping you move forward.
I also think we do that to hide from doing the actual work that scares us, like having a discovery call with somebody. You know, when you're first starting out as a new coach, you know, you talk about the discovery call, and that could be very daunting for a lot of people. You know, you kind of doubt yourself. And so it's easier to do other things. It's easier to do busy work than actually get really started with your business and getting the practice that it takes to get where you want to be. You know, or being worried about hearing someone say, "Oh no, you know, I don't think I could afford working with you," but then being able to, you know, learn and know how to then move forward with those conversations.
Yeah, help them work through the resistance around it. Yeah, because that's the thing too. Like everyone has resistance. You know, it's a matter of not taking that as a no, like it's not going to work out, but being able to kind of look and work through that. All a learning process too.
Definitely.
Yeah. So another thing, like if you just want to talk a little bit about how things have changed in your life since you've started your business, since before we started working together, because I know like you've had a lot of things change in your life, a ton. So
Yes.
just kind of give people a little bit of a picture of what's all changed for you.
Well, I am currently 34 weeks pregnant with our first baby after many rounds of IVF. So thank you. We're so absolutely blessed with how that has come to be. And it really, you know, I started my fertility practice when I was really in the thick of going through it all. And I realized that even though I had all these ups and downs, that I still had this unwavering faith. I was like, I know this is going to work out. I know what I want from the universe. It will be delivered to me in the divine timing. And I was so compelled to share this with other women. I just really had to share this with other women. And that's why I decided to do what I do. But also it helped me all this time changing. I've become a creator of my own life, a creator of my own wealth, and practicing the things that, you know, I talk about all the time. So my mindset and my manifestation has just completely skyrocketed. Like I thought it was good before. It was like manifested lots of things before, but with this constant practice and just always living the practice and, you know, following what I practice, what I preach, it has really helped me to manifest the things into my life that I also want other women to have. So the confidence is great. You know, my PayPal account, when I see the money in there, I cried the other day, actually. I was like, oh my God, I showed my husband. I was like, my God, honey, look, this is working. You know, this is working. It didn't happen overnight. I think that was the thing too. I thought, you know, you see a lot of things like, hey, make 20K. I made 20K with my first webinar. I kind of got sucked into that in the beginning, you know, and then as I learned, you know, I had to put hard work in still. I'm not saying that everything was just dropped into my lap. I still had to put in the hard work to get there. But just seeing it grow has been an incredible experience. Yeah. And to be able to share that with other women it's just a dream come true. So yeah, I went from, you know, working full-time 9 to 5, quitting my job, you know, starting this business thinking like, hey, I'm going to do weight loss, to then getting really panicked about, you know, not thinking it was right for me. And then finally falling into the fertility thing. And I think that's the thing that new coaches need to understand, is that there's going to be changes. And that's something that you talked about from the beginning. And I remember not believing you. I was like, why would you change? Like, you know, this is what I want to do. Why would there be a change? But you see that your personality, everything that you do starts to it's a beautiful transformation. You know what I mean? And instead of resisting, it's kind of like to just go with it and give yourself time to learn, like, okay, what makes you passionate? Why do you want to do this? and then kind of going with it. And then if it changes again, that's okay. Like, I don't know if I'll always be helping women with IVF. Once I have the baby, there's lots of other things too that come into my life, like breastfeeding or helping moms that are pregnant, live a different, live healthier and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's already on my mind that, hey, I may not always be doing this, but I'll be helping women in some form. And I'm okay with that now. Back then, that would really scare me. So I think that's important too, to know that it's okay to just kind of go with the flow of things.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's all awesome. And yeah, I mean, I remember when you quit your job and did you move in the process too from?
I had moved already. So before we talked, I think it was like maybe 8 months or so before we talked, we relocated from New Jersey to Georgia. I got engaged. I got married in 12 weeks. Crazy. Started IVF 4 days after we got married. So yeah, I had a lot of changes, and then decided to work down here. And after maybe 3 months, I was like, I can't do this corporate job anymore. I need to coach. I need to have my own business. I need to make my dreams come true.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And do you regret any of it, starting your business, even the shitty stuff? And
No, I do not regret it at all. I was thinking the other day, I'm like, maybe I should have worked longer. I thought about staying in corporate. I was like, maybe I could have worked in corporate longer. I could have saved more money for myself. But, because I only had a certain amount of money, and I kind of went through it. But I just recently manifested about $10,000. So I'm okay. Every time these little things happen, again, getting handed, 3 more surrogacy clients. These little things pop up, and when you believe it, you receive it. And that's the thing that I could say every day for mindset, is to just keep moving forward with what you believe and what will happen. It happens time and time again, for me. So I don't regret it at all, or I wouldn't be here today. We have to go through all the ups and downs to keep going on our journey. So it's been amazing. It's been amazing, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah, I agree. Awesome. So through it all, and I want to ask this because a lot of people get stuck on this too. Do you recommend working with a business coach on starting your business?
Definitely. Having a business coach like you was so important when I first started out. And you usually do a 3-month program. So for me, I signed up for double. I did 6 months, because even with that first 3 months, I was just really starting to get into things. It was towards the end of that 3 months where things really started changing for me. I think it took 3 months for me to realize I wanted to do fertility. And so then I signed up again for another 3 months with you, because I needed the support. I couldn't just, my husband is supportive, but my husband can't tell me hey, honey, did you email your list today? Or do you know what you're going to do next? Or you gave me the confidence to do, I did a webinar. Remember, that was my first thing. I did a webinar for over 200 people that signed up through another fertility company. Scared the crap out of me. I didn't think I could do a webinar. And then here I am doing one, which led me to 14 discovery calls, which also scared the crap out of me. Mm-hmm. But it gave me so much practice and time. And without you giving me the confidence, that was the thing. I had confidence, but I needed that person that's been through it before to really help me to keep moving forward. And there were times where I'm sure I just wanted to give up, where I was like, no one is responding to my emails, or, I set this ad up and nothing's happening. I think, it's important to have a coach be there for you and get you through to all these other points. You know what I mean? And then also give a different perspective on things. So you were able to give me that, but again, we worked together 6 months, and it was a lot of hard work. But I don't think I would have ever been able to do that myself. I would have been floundering for months and months. I would have been floundering without really getting anything done besides changing colors on my website.
Yeah. And we're all glad that you're doing more than that. You're helping so many people now.
Thank you.
Huge, right? Like to be able to help people and change their lives in that way. And
it really is. It really is. And also, you know, I think it also, again, like having a coach just, it allows you to get out the feelings and the worries that you can't go to your mom and tell her about, you know what I mean, about your business. So to have somebody that's been through it is really important. Just like, you know, the way I coach women going through IVF, I don't think I would be the same coach to a person if I've never been through it before. So having somebody that's been through it and understands what it's like makes it just so much more comforting when you are especially going through the, you know, the dips. And especially when you're going through the highs, when you're like, I got 14 discovery calls, you know, to have that support and enthusiasm and, you know, kind of just to have that, it's like sisters. It's like a sisterhood. It's cool. That's why coaching is so awesome.
It is. Yeah. And I think it's just, a lot of people feel like I have to figure everything out on my own and do it on my own. And I can't spend any money in my business to start it up or whatever. And it's just, I feel like those things really keep people stuck. So it's good to know, like, you can get help and it is really important. I mean, I know my own journey, it was too, like my business would not be where it is if I didn't invest in working with coaches to help me business either. So.
And like, again, to practice what we preach, here we are trying to get clients, but you know what I mean? To then say like, oh, I've never been coached myself kind of is an odd thing. You know what I mean? Coaching is so powerful. That's why we do what we do. But that doesn't mean that we're exempt from being coached ourselves.
Yeah.
So I think that was a big thing too, to understand that, you know, there's a lot to it.
Definitely. What would you say is like the one thing that has changed for you the most through this process, or something that's just kind of sticks out to you just through going through this?
I think for me, it is, and it has taken a while for me to get to this point. I think I'm in business now with fertility, a little over a year and 3 months.
Okay.
And it took me a while to not be afraid to be authentic in what I wanted to teach or talk about. So one of the things that I do is I'm very big into energy, and that's through things like crystals and the universe and grounding ourselves. I'm also a Reiki practitioner. And I was afraid to get too woo-woo with everybody, saying, what if I start pulling angel cards in the group? Or what if I tell them I do distance Reiki? I'm like, these women are going to think I'm nuts. But these are the things that I do and follow for myself and have been to other practitioners for. You know, I had Reiki done before my last transfer, before this, you know, we're pregnant. So that was the thing. It was being completely authentic and unafraid of what anyone would think. And I remember you telling me, if I changed the name of I was always worried about changing the name of my group or the focus of my group, that I would lose my members. I said, what if, you know, here they are, I'm talking about nutrition and fertility, and now all of a sudden I'm talking about mindset. I was really afraid to also talk about mindset too, and how the law of attraction helped me manifest things into my life. So that was the thing for me. And guess what? I don't think I've lost a member. I gained members.
Yeah.
So that was incredible. But that was the thing, is learning to just be really authentic and not be afraid of what anybody else thinks. You can't stay in a coaching business or in a group, not faking it, but not doing what really makes you passionate. So if it's energy that made me passionate, mindset that made me passionate, that's when I just took off with it. And that's when my content became so much easier to come up with, because I couldn't stop talking about the things that I believed in. And then I saw my group was responding. So then I got Reiki clients signing on for distance Reiki. I've done Reiki for people in Bangkok, England, Australia, Minnesota, all over the world, which I never would have thought would happen. And it did. but I had to have the balls to put it out there, to be in plain English with you.
I like it. I think that is the number one thing. That authenticity is huge, and people are scared to do it. People are scared to just be themselves and do what they want and talk about themselves and just put it out there. And that does make the hugest difference, I think, for all of us. That's been a huge lesson in my own journey too. So.
And it's so empowering. Once you do it, you just feel so empowered for not being afraid, not having to apologize and saying, I'm sorry, I'm going to talk about this. No, just like put it out there. If someone likes it, and just like you said, if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't, but I'm going to keep getting the people that want to hear what I have to say. And then you'll be surprised at how many people are in tune with you. You know what I mean? They may have been afraid too to admit that they were into that or like to do that. And so then once it all starts coming together, and then it's just great, because then your community expands. And that led me to meeting other coaches that do similar things. And so we learn from each other. We're able to have conferences with each other because we all believe in the same thing. So it's just so important to be authentic. I can't say enough about that.
Yeah. Awesome. So I was going to ask your number one piece of advice to new coaches. Is it around authenticity, or is there anything else that comes to mind too?
I think having a mindset practice is very, very, very important. Yeah. If you're new to mindset, maybe not every coach is into mindset, but I suggest starting off with things like the law of attraction, The Secret. Marianne Williamson has a lot of books, I forget the name of the book now. I think you're the one that told me about it.
Leveraging the Universe.
Yeah, Leveraging the Universe. There's a whole bunch of them. So getting into having a mindset practice where you're putting out there exactly what you want. You know what I mean? And letting things come to you and releasing the grip on everything but how am I going to make this work? How am I going to make the money? How? And just focus on when it's coming, so that's a huge thing, is the mindset. And then again, being authentic, like not being afraid to just put out there who you are and what you want, and what you want to show to people. Because then you'll be rewarded with getting the clients and getting the type of business that really is in sync with what, your values and, your core and all the beliefs that you have.
Yeah, definitely. You're talking about a mindset practice. Do you have maybe one thing in particular that you really love to do or that you find most helpful?
Every day. So even before I was pregnant, going through all these different types of, IVF treatments and things like that, I sat down and meditated every day and thanked the universe for being pregnant and how excited I was to be pregnant and how my body is fertile and amazing, and how, I conceive effortlessly, and I'd picture my big belly, you know what I mean? And this is way, way before I was pregnant. I did that I did it every single day. And so doing that, and also in my business say clients come to me effortlessly and easily, saying this every day, even before it really started happening, and envisioning those things, putting myself, envisioning myself, what it looks like to be pregnant, what my sweet baby looks like. Those are the things that I teach my clients to get them in a mind frame of just having this happiness and faith and hope every day, so that even when the things happen that aren't so great, you're able to bounce back. So that's my number one thing.
Beautiful. I love that. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all this. I think it's really helpful and good to hear from someone who's been there, done it, and is doing amazing things. Why don't you tell people a little bit about where they can find more information about you, stuff that you have going up, or stuff that people can sign up for if they're interested in finding out more of the things you were talking about?
Sure. So I have my website is grateful.lifewellness.com. And there, again, I support women going through fertility issues, such as, fertility issues in general, and especially women going through IVF, IUI. I'm also a Reiki practitioner. Right now I have a 5-day class that I'm selling for $29. Transformative tips so you can go from trying to conceive to trusting to conceive. And that has, women have really enjoyed that a lot. And it goes over the basics of everything I teach: mindset, energy, belief and mindset practice, and how to set those things up. I also, if anyone is interested or fits, into what I do, I have a private Facebook group called Empowered Fertility for the Holistic Chick. How to be a badass on the fertility journey. So that's where I have my ladies. Yeah, I'll be going on maternity leave soon. I'm due in about 6 weeks. So I'll be taking a little break from things, but you can subscribe to my newsletter on my website, and I should be having an opt-in soon that I'm setting up on outsmarting anxiety on your fertility journey. So awesome. That's been a big thing. So I'm adding that opt-in to my website shortly.
Yeah. And I'll get links from you and I'll add them.
Yeah,
so
sounds good.
Interested in checking those things out, which all sound awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Nancy. I really appreciate it. And I know people are going to find this really inspiring and really helpful too. So
you are so welcome. I'm really happy to help us. We're a very awesome community of women, mostly women. Yeah. And supporting each other is huge. Being able to help answer each other's questions. I know, especially when I first started out and wanted to be a fertility coach, I was able to reach out to other coaches who gladly accepted my phone calls and messages on Facebook and said, hey, can you talk to me for a couple of minutes about what it was like to be what it's like to be a fertility coach? How did you start out? So I urge women that, are watching this today, if you're interested in doing something and maybe not too sure about it, reach out into the groups, find out if there's another coach that does something similar to what you want to do, and reach out to them. I'm sure she will be so happy to give you some guidance so that you know where to start or how you can continue with what you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Community is huge, and being connected to like-minded people who can lift you up and inspire you, because a lot of times people, I think when they're starting their journey of starting a business and being a health coach, like sometimes from people around you, you get a lot of negativity or doubt, and that can be really hard. So it's good to be supported by other people.
Yeah. And to stay active in the groups, like your group is incredible. Every day you have a piece of wisdom that's out there, and you'll see, sometimes it really resonates. You're like, oh my goodness, I'm going through this right now. So, to stay active in the groups and to keep asking questions, and just to keep moving forward with what you're doing.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for all that, Nancy. I really appreciate it. So I think that's it for today. I think we covered all the really good stuff, unless there's anything you can think of that you still want to add, Nancy. But
hey, I could talk forever, so we should stop it now. But if anybody has any questions for me, I'm always open. Just hit me up. I'm in the group. I'm Nancy Weiss. So you could always send me a message if you want any more information or need some tips. I'm happy to help.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining me and Nancy today. Very excited about sharing all this with you guys. And like you said, if you have any questions for Nancy or I, don't hesitate to reach out, because we're both happy to help everyone really, step into building a business and doing what you want to be doing and building a life that you want to be living, because that's what we're here to do. Right? So, all right, Nancy, thank you so much.
Okay.
And I will see you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.